the gun. Manning lets it fly. It's caught by Thomas. There's the record for Peyton Manning.
And welcome everybody to another brand new episode of the MHRT Podcast. I'm your host, Mundungus Creevy, as always, alongside my co-host, 6'10", Mr. Boggins, and Glenn Mile High Fiber Hauser. Now, if you're new here, we want to welcome you to the MHRT Network. We are a group of fan-led Broncos-based podcasts, and we do our absolute best to fill you in on all things Broncos news, while also bringing you some headlines throughout the NFL. Now make sure that you like, subscribe, share, comment, and turn on notifications so that you can get alerted anytime we go live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. We're also asking that you go to MHRT Network on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review and a rating. It would help us out greatly and would greatly appreciate it.
You mean a good review and a good rating?
Yeah, that's a must. You have to.
Yeah.
Now, not only does the network have the MHRT podcast, but we also have Broncos Talk that goes live every Tuesday at 7654. The Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast that goes live every Friday at 7654. And the brand new pregame show, The Neighborhood, that goes live before every Broncos game. How goes it, everybody?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Fine. What happened? What happened that I didn't see because I was reading something? What did you do?
What are you talking about?
Somebody said, I hope that's in the live feed. What did you do?
Oh, I'm pretty sure someone said pork chop right before.
I was glad.
I was doing it on my Peter Brady.
This weird
pork chop.
Pork chop.
Yeah.
And then it went to the hopefully
pork chops and applesauce.
I think he was putting his dinner in the microwave or something.
There you go. EJ joining us, says, what's up, Broncos country? # beat the Washington football team. Avatar, what's up, Broncos country? Let's win this one for the sheriff, Peyton Manning, this Sunday, which is awesome. Yeah. He's getting recognized for his Hall of Fame induction, and he's getting put into the Ring of Fame.
Yeah. Yep.
Ronald Samples, what's up, Broncos country? Jerry Holland, Mile High Five. Saver G High. Well, hello. Denver Schweitzer, lock on top. Okay. Travis Starbucks.
That rhymed.
Evening, fellas. Hoping our Broncos can turn things around. Denver Broncos for life. Pork chop, extra gravy. Okay.
Extra gravy.
So normally what we do is we go over the previous game and then go into the next game. But you know what? I don't really want to talk about the last game unless we have to. So
what was the last game?
There's a lot of stuff. I don't even care. I don't remember. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening. Kind of, not really. But I kind of want to dig into that. So there's a lot of blame going around. Obviously we did not see any sort of coaching change. We haven't seen a quarterback change. We haven't really seen, there's been some roster moves. So we have 6 linebackers on injured reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And so we brought in an outside linebacker and an inside. We brought in, Kenny Young as inside from the Rams. And we brought in Stephen Weatherly from the Vikings for outside linebacker. Yeah. It's looking like Kenny Young is going to be that starting inside linebacker. And I'm assuming the other one is Sternot at the moment, unless Browning's back, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Or is it still Sternot over Browning?
No, I mean,
definitely Sternot over Browning.
Yeah, Sternot's definitely going to be in there. They're going to try to work him in. Kenny's obviously getting crash coursed into everything, but he has a little bit of system knowledge from working with Brandon Staley. So it'll be a little bit quite a crash course, but he'll probably play quite a few snaps this coming Sunday.
Mm-hmm. It's more likely going to be a rotation more than likely. Obviously we've all read the article. I would believe that. I don't know if Young said this specifically, but I think he did, where he said that he wasn't really in agreement with the trade, going from a team like the Rams to a team like Denver.
Yeah,
but
no, that's not exactly what
he
he
didn't
said.
say really like that.
Well,
no.
I'm just reading what the headline said, and obviously the headline was clickbait.
I'm assuming he was upset that he got traded, but he wasn't upset that he came to the Broncos.
What he said was, he said that the reason given was that it was a financial reason and a cap reason.
Mhm.
And while he didn't agree with it, he gets it. So,
Mhm.
He was really put on the spot a little bit yesterday. I mean, think about it. He's gone from a 6-1 team to one that's kind of reeling.
To a Super Bowl contending Denver Broncos team.
Well, I mean, oh my gosh. Don't you buy into this negativity. So you know anything about this guy, and just it's kind of surprising that the Rams did get rid of him with his statistics, and I mean, thank goodness they did. And one of the nice things is and I know we're in some dire straits in terms of the linebacker position is Peyton is making trades. He has not given up on this season, and nor have I. I'm not going to buy into the negativity that is. I mean, this week has been one of those negative weeks of all time as far as my
negativity is what it sounded like.
Negativity.
Is
that negativity?
Negativity.
So I did pull up Kenny Young stats.
No diggity.
No diggity. So last year he played every game, had 52 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception, and a fumble recovery. And it looks like he had a touchdown too. This year he's already in 7 games got 39 tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. So he was the leading head linebacker or the leading linebacker, leading tackler on the Rams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was top 2 this year.
Yeah, he was top 2.
Yeah, it's a good pickup for sure. And we did at a time when we really, really need it. Man, our rush defense, obviously, last week. I know we don't want to really talk about last week, but it was pretty obvious.
In the context of what we're talking about.
It's a recap show.
We were definitely missing our starting linebackers. Like Ben Albright was talking about. Alexander Johnson just earned himself a contract extension because it's super obvious that we were missing him.
Yeah. Well, and the one move that I don't completely understand is Stephen Weatherly.
Outside linebacker.
At outside linebacker. I suppose if Miller's going to be injured for a couple weeks, that I guess it kind of makes sense. But it sounds like Miller's going to play this Sunday, and I'm hoping that we're going to see a lot more of Cooper than Reed. Now, nothing against Reed, but Cooper was pretty awesome.
Was amazing
in that last little bit of the game last week. So.
I mean, depth is depth, and you're always looking, especially at pass rush. We weren't getting anything done there except for Jonathan Cooper. So it's you want as many pass rushers as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Vaughn being a little hobbly right now and Chubb still out for at least another 3 weeks.
It doesn't look like Chubb is coming back until, I mean, Vic kind of indicated the Eagles
end of November.
That's a ways to go.
As long as you can hit that 70% healthy threshold, you can play. So, I mean,
that's what we found out. And it's as long as you denounce what your player's health, he said he was at. Like Teddy's like, about 75%. Vic's like, I think he was a little more than 75%.
He was a little better than that.
76.
I'm not going to call him a liar though. Like I'll believe what he says. Yeah. But that's where it kind of gets into the. I'm so angry that it's come down to that where it's so stupid of what you're saying in a press conference that you can just tell that the coaching staff is just it's. Really, those are the answers you have to give. Well, I don't understand. Why are you even arguing with the court? I mean, number one, and we'll get it because there's been a big debate over Locke and Bridgewater, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. But to me, with how we saw Bridgewater being injured, not being able to step into his throws. He should not have played that game. Not because of awful play or being benched, but because he was hurt. He shouldn't have played, in my opinion.
No,
but you have to say that the offense did not lose that game. I mean, that was a defense loss.
Didn't help, but yeah, it was.
Well, I'm not gonna disagree with you that when it's a 70% healthy, and you've got Drew Lock on the bench. I'm surprised Lock was not in there. That did not make sense.
It's really weird that this coaching staff feels like they are on like such the hot seat. Well, that's not the weird part, is that they feel like Teddy Bridgewater gives them so much more of an opportunity to win than Drew Lock. I don't know what the coaching staff issue is with Drew Lock, but I feel like it might stem even more than his actual play, because it's just like they're doing everything they can not to play Drew Lock.
Well, and that's why I kind of agreed at the beginning of the season, where it's like it's going to be a lot easier to go from Lock to Bridgewater than it is from Bridgewater to Lock. But at the same time, it's like if the coach, like Fangio said, they can win with both quarterbacks. So why throw Teddy Bridgewater in there when he can't step into throws instead of Lock? You know, that's, and I'm not sitting here saying that there's going to be a large uptick in production with Lock going in there over Teddy Bridgewater. I don't. I think it's going to be about the same. Teddy looks this year kind of like Drew did last year, but I will say, what is it? 12 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. I mean, technically that's not that bad. But he is missing open receivers.
Isn't that worse than Patrick Mahomes right now? I mean, not as, or like, sorry. Patrick Mahomes is worse. Like, doesn't he have
8 interceptions tied with Zach Wilson. So
and Teddy's brother doesn't have a TikTok account, so that's good.
That's terrible. That's terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah, he's a terrible person.
So yeah, it's I don't understand anymore what Fangio is doing. It doesn't make any sense. Because if he's trying to protect himself, why put in an injured quarterback? If he's trying to protect himself, why are you going against what your quarterback is saying? Like, I don't. Why are you telling Jerry Jeudy that the defense isn't going to have to adjust because he's not that good of a player? Like, why are you saying that?
Really?
Well, he didn't say that directly to Jerry.
But that's how it comes off.
That's the implication.
And it's weird too, because Fangio legitimately had an excuse for that game. Like, he could have said that Bridgewater was not up to par to play, and then Drew had to go in. It wouldn't have been like a coach call, right? It would have been that he was injured, so he didn't play. So it didn't matter really how Drew Lock played. It wouldn't be on Fangio because so I don't understand. I really don't understand why that was the choice. Like, they felt so much more confident in Teddy Bridgewater than Drew Lock. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, we really shouldn't be surprised either, because we have to remember that Vic Fangio isn't exactly an experienced head coach. The answers he gave was exactly what I would expect from somebody who has little to no coaching experience, and that's why a lot of us got upset when we heard what we heard. And to kind of go back to what Mike was saying, I really do think that it's just kind of Vic Fangio just trying to cover himself without trying to throw Pat Shurmur or anybody else on his coaching staff under the bus. It's just him trying to deflect or reflect all the anger on him. But he really doesn't need to do that, because everybody in Broncos country knows who to blame, at least for the majority of us anyway. So I really think that even though he's going up to the podium almost every other day and saying, hey, it's on me, it's on me, it's on me, some of it is, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that isn't on him. But the fans are mad at Fangio because he's not doing what a head coach should do, where if he sees where the problem is, he's not doing anything to fix it. A, and B, he's the one that brought on Pat Shurmur and let go of our offensive coordinator, cut him out of the blue when there was really no need to after that 2018 season.
Don, I actually have to disagree with you on that, because I think one of the big knocks on what's happening with Fangio is that he's not taking accountability, and players like Justin Simmons are sitting there taking full accountability for any of the issues that are happening, and the coach is not doing that to the degree that normally a coach would do. And the defense has been, granted, we've had some injuries, but we were playing a team last week that was without one of its tackles, 2 killer running backs. Peoples Jones was injured in pregame, so he didn't play. their starting quarterback was out. There was no excuse for them being able to march the initial drive all the way down the field. And even worse, when we still had an opportunity to win that game, the defense just let them hold the ball for nearly 6 minutes and just absolutely gash us. It was the defense is not what I was expecting to have some shortcomings, and it's been quite a surprise.
Well, and that's one of the things that we kind of established at the beginning of the year, was that this team was going to be defense based with an offense that just kind of needed to manage itself and not turn the ball over and
run the ball. But
the offense,
we don't seem to do that very much.
Like the offense that we have is not a shootout type offense. Like that's not, and granted you've got Drew Lock, who's got a stronger arm, but at the same time, he's proven that when we get into shootouts and he's taking a chance, he takes more of a chance and turns the ball over, and that doesn't help anything. So
it's very interesting to see if anybody has had a chance to look at like Tim Jenkins breakdowns of the games. You see a lot of Teddy doesn't necessarily go for the long shot. I mean, we've known this, right? We know that he likes to take the shorts. He likes to, 3rd and 5 on 3rd and 9. I mean, that's more of a Shermer play call, but Teddy usually goes short. Drew usually takes the deep shots. Well, sometimes the deep shots are open, and that's something that Drew would hit or at least take. Where Teddy just doesn't, and then it's kind of vice versa. And so you're kind of getting, if we could combine the two quarterbacks, see, listen, hear me out. We put them, you ever seen Dragon Ball Z where you fusion them together, and then they become one, bridge lock, and then we go to the playoffs. So there you go. Boom. Done.
Lockwater.
Thanks everybody for coming.
I know one of the things that people have said is that there was never a quarterback competition. Rich, who's in the chat stream here, he even used the term in our group text that we were sold a bill of goods, that there was a competition, and I do believe that there was. I think what happened was behind the scenes, the bonding of Teddy with the players and the leadership that he was showing pushed him far ahead of Drew on that side of the fence. So I think that there's a real comfortability about his leadership, and that they're hoping that that's going to be the thing that pulls him, that pulls us out of this mix, or this mess, I should say. That being said, is Teddy's always been very good with his words, and I was incredibly shocked that he, in that KOA interview, actually admitted said the 70 to 75. And since in the last couple of days, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but the players that have been asked, what percentage are you going to be playing, or what percentage they're like, we don't deal with percents. So there was clearly a meeting after that interview on coaching some of these answers, for sure.
I think Teddy comes off as one of those guys that just is very honest. Like, he means nothing by it. Like, he's just so honest. You could ask him whatever, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, I actually had a concussion still, but coach asked me to go back in, so I was like, no problem." Teddy, you can't say that, buddy. You can't say it. Why?
I mean, Teddy even said that he had told Drew, prepare as though it's your game. And then once the adrenaline started flowing, he said, I can do this. And he went and he decided.
And that's the thing. Like, you look at the 4-game losing streak we've been on, and I understand our 3 first games were against terrible teams, but at the same time, we're not seeing the same Bridgewater that we saw in even the first 4. After he got that concussion, he's been completely different. So I don't know if it's he passed concussion protocol, but he still was feeling the effects. And then he got his foot injured and just wasn't able to step into it. I don't know what's going on. Do I think that this is how Teddy Bridgewater is permanently going to play? No. But something has to change in him recognizing, like, hey, this person's open. You can throw it farther than this. Like, get it to them, push the ball a little bit. So I don't know what's going on, but something's going to have to change in order to win some games.
I mean, we'll find out because Washington definitely has a stout pass rush, but a garbage secondary. So we will see if he can, if he's going to push it down the field any game. This is going to be the game to do it.
Jerry Holland says, I don't think it's tinfoil hat believing Fangio has an ill will grudge on Locke and ego issues. So we kind of talked about this at the beginning of the season when they were having the QB competition. Mm-hmm. I believe that there's a severe lack of trust between Fangio and Shermer and Locke. I don't think it's a grudge. I don't think they're angry at him. I just don't think they trust him. And like, you're not going to throw a quarterback in there that you don't trust. So I understand. I don't think that they have an issue with Locke. I just don't think they trust him. I mean, can you blame him after last year?
He's old school too, and I don't see that. I don't see Vic Fangio's personality getting along well with Drew Lock. Like, Drew Lock kind of comes off pretty cocky and like he does know things, and Fangio's trying to show, no, you don't know things. Teddy knows a couple things. I'm going to put him in just because you talked up, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to put you in your place and I'm going to hold you there until I'm gone, essentially. So I think that they really did pick Teddy because they were more comfortable with his knowledge of reading defenses, of the playbook, of just being out there to drive the ship. And that's what they wanted. They are so in their head about their own coaching abilities that they just want someone to go out there and play the plays that they make for them. And Locke is more of a big shot kind of guy.
But let's look at how the third quarter started, right? So the Broncos were down 10-0, certainly not out of it, but they showed Zippo in the first half. They held the ball for a tremendous amount of time, over half the quarter, and they marched down and scored that touchdown. Unfortunately, then the defense allowed Cleveland in turn to do essentially the same thing. So it was for the most part a two possession quarter. My point is that that's something we never saw last year when Drew was our quarterback, is that we never saw these long sustained drives because there was a lot of carelessness. And I'm not saying that's what we should expect for him for the rest of his career, but that drive showed the value of a Bridgewater quarterback in this system. I still can't believe they didn't fire Shermer when we had 10 days in between games. I don't know what we're waiting for in terms of mixing it up. I mean, a Weatherly trade is not going to turn the needle. You've got to make some serious changes.
Well, and this is one of the things that Tim Jenkins said was he's under the belief that with Jerry Jeudy coming back and potentially opening back up the offense a little bit because he's able to get open, that they're going to give Shermer, Fangio, and Bridgewater the next 3 games to see if they can kind of turn it around. And if they can't, then at the bye week, that's when Shermer could go, and that's when Bridgewater could be benched if they don't turn it around.
That's just past midpoint of the season, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's over at that point.
Yeah, that's going to be my next point. Like, by that time, it might be a little bit too late to steer the ship, especially if Denver doesn't win this week against Washington. And then we have Dallas next week, which is going to be a real hard test for the Broncos to go up against. And then I believe their bye week comes after the Philly game, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, and I think that's where you're getting into the, if you've gotten to the bye week and now you're replacing people, it's like, okay, so the season is, we're not going to make the playoffs. Let's see what we have. And I think that's where that's going to kick in.
These next 3 weeks are really going to depict a lot of what's going to happen for the rest of the season, especially with our coaching. And man, we got a very interesting off season coming, guys. Not going to lie. Like, we thought this last one was interesting. This one's going to be a doozy. I promise you that. And the next 3 games, we're going to unfortunately have to start looking ahead very soon if we're not winning these games.
Now, my question to you guys is, if the Broncos lose on Sunday and then that automatically makes Denver sellers, who do you think the Broncos are going to put up for try to trade away?
Well, you got to think Fuller's going to be one.
Mm-hmm.
Gordon
probably
might
is
be
anyway.
another. Yeah, Gordon might be another. I keep hearing Bryce Callahan, but I really hope we re-sign him.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I think Fuller is probably the most obvious there. There's no one else I'm really confident with that would really get much for. I know people have talked about Von Miller, but I don't know what you're going to get for an aging edge at the end of his career. I mean, not necessarily at the end of his career, but the end of his contract also. So I don't think
with
really
10 million owed still.
Yeah. So I think Fuller is probably the most realistic option. Maybe an offensive lineman, but we also need those. So yeah, I don't see us dealing a whole bunch, especially not acquiring a ton either. Especially if we lose this week.
Yeah. Jerry Holland with Peyton not stepping in, taking some heads. It leaves a feeling he doesn't care how this season goes. Well, we kind of had an answer on that one because we were told that if you look in the building, Peyton and Fangio are basically on the same level when it comes to reporting to Ellis and Elway. And so if a head coaching change is to be made, it's coming from Ellis and Elway. So I don't know if Peyton, which is stupid, I don't even know if Peyton really has the say to fire Fangio.
Sounds like it'll be more like we'll take it under advisement type of thing.
It also might be of like when Peyton came in there, like, see what you have, we'll run it out this season. And because Peyton was coming into it, he just kind of probably also wanted to see what he had in the players, in the building, in the coaching, instead of just like changing stuff just like that as soon as he's coming in, you know what I mean? So I'm sure Joe and Elway were kind of just like, let's try and hold it out for the season, and if things aren't working, then we'll look at it then. But as far as the current staff, let's just try and ride it out for as long as we can.
Well, and that's why I think you get to that buy mark, the halfway point. That's when they're like, okay, head coach can stay, but we'll get rid of the coordinator. See if Locke grew, if he figured something out, see what we have, and we'll go from there. But for right now, it's like we're not out of it yet. They chose Bridgewater as a starting quarterback, so we're going to stick with him until he proves that he's not. So
and to be honest, I would be very excited to see if we got rid of Fangio and Shermer. I would be excited to see who Peyton would choose as a coach. I feel like Peyton would be able to really pick out a no BS, like potentially good young coach to take over the reins.
So how about this? Or for next year?
What?
You mean as interim or like permanent next year?
No. Next year. I'm excited to see who he would be able to, like, in the off season, who he would pick, because I really do trust Peyton. I think he's doing a great job so far.
So here's my dream scenario. Ready? The Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday.
I thought you were going to say Urban Meyer or something after the coach. Oh gosh!
Did you see the Urban Meyer Halloween costume? Just Google it.
That's a winner.
But so Jags beats Seattle. Seattle is now two wins on the season. Their season is done. George Payton on Monday makes a phone call out west, offers 2 number 1s, Bradley Chubb, Drew Lock, and 2 2s for Russell Wilson. What do you think?
I still don't think. I think you'd have to add. I think you'd have to add that 3rd number 1.
Then do it. Like,
no, I'm down. I'm just saying you'd probably have to add.
Who?
But why not now?
Because I think he's still, like, would be a ton of dead cap, right?
Yeah,
I think beginning of the end of league year. I think then it would be a thing. I think he's still in that, like, giant dead
for
cap.
the Seahawks. You're saying that they didn't.
We would have to accrue.
I don't know.
Or no, sorry, they would have to pay it. Yeah, so I don't think they would really want to do that unless we would pay. Oh gosh, pay a good chunk of that too.
Yeah, a lot.
Do it. Do it. Like we can you imagine Matthew Stafford on this team? Yeah, I mean,
I understand the allure. I'm just saying, like,
Pat
logistically,
Shermer,
I don't.
Right. Well,
if it's still within that like 39 million dead cap or whatever, I don't think that would happen. But like,
no, I get it.
Beginning of next league year, sure, yeah.
So Don, I hear what you're saying. Like, no, because of Pat Shermer, but let's kind of dig into that a little bit. I'm not sitting here saying that Pat Shermer has bad plays. Like, his scheme is not bad. His first scripted 12 to 15 plays are trash. And then the play calling is trash. But his scheme and his plays aren't bad.
Right. The ingredients are good. The recipe is a disaster.
Yeah.
Which is just stupid. And Travis Tarbox was wondering, who would you guys want to be our next head coach? Is going into kind of what Bogan said. And we've heard a couple times from Ben Albright about on Twitter. He's been talking about Dan Quinn. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind it. And this is one of the things that, that had been kind of going around Twitter was, should Denver make a play for Russell Wilson in the offseason? Well, if we do, Dan Quinn is one of those coaches that he's familiar with. It would make sense that if you're going to push for Russell Wilson to go get like a Dan Quinn, especially when he runs a Shanahan type offense.
Well, Dan Quinn's a defensive mind.
No, you're talking about McDaniels, Mike McDaniels.
No. I'm talking about Dan Quinn, offensive philosophy.
Well, he's a
defensive coach, but as a head coach, his offensive philosophy goes in the Shanahan style offense.
Yeah, he had Kyle Shanahan.
He picks the offensive coordinator that has the Shanahan offense.
Yeah, but he didn't really make it out in Atlanta, and he had Matt Ryan.
He made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Plus, you also have to remember when Dan Quinn got let go, so did Dimitroff, the GM. I think it was more of a roster issue than it was a coaching issue.
I don't know.
So I'm not saying that Dan Quinn is like a perfect head coach. I don't know. He is a retread, but guess what? 98% of coaches are
Bill
retreads.
Belichick then would be considered a retread.
Right. That's what I'm saying. 98% of coaches.
Mike Shanahan's a retread. Like he was.
Why are you getting so angry? I'm agreeing.
Because it's such a. I can't believe Dave said that. Dave, they're revoking your half glassman, your full glassman, your empty glassman.
And then on that note, then you couldn't get or like Fangio was not a retread. Vance Joseph was not a retread.
Vance Joseph is fine.
Josh McDaniels.
Is fine.
I mean,
who wants retreads?
Flip your coin at this point.
Who wants a Brian Dable anyway? Huh?
Oh man. Well, and even
I want a Brian Daboll.
Yeah, that'd be my pick for head coach.
I don't get me wrong. There's a lot of like Josh Allen definitely makes things look good over there, but I also think there are a lot of times where he kind of panic balls and then runs out of the pocket and makes some insane throw that you're like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. So there's like a little of both, but I would be excited to see what Dabo will be able to do with whatever quarterback we have.
So is that our segue into it's time to panic? It's not time to panic.
Well, and what I was going to say was I was looking up in the chat and not paying attention to what was being typed. So I'm confused on wow. And then I'm confused on
yum. I believe Jerry Holland's wow was when you said that the decision of firing the head coach didn't fall on Peyton, it fell on Elway and Ellis. That's where I believe the wow came from. And the yum was the idea of Russell Wilson.
Was it when I twirled my mustache? Oh, okay. Got it.
I was going to say yum was when Mike's shirt popped.
Was it Adam Rank that came out with that story on Twitter, or was it
which one?
Was it Mace?
There you go, Mace. It was Mace. He came out with that saying that it was so I think that Peyton would be able to probably let some offensive coordinators go, but you got to think that would fall on Fangio. And at this point, can Peyton even force Fangio to do anything? That's where it's so awkward, is like, why does Fangio and Peyton have the same standing when it comes to
Elway? If he really wanted to, I'm sure he could go to John or Ellis and like really put his foot down. I'm sure he has enough power to do that, but I think he wants to wait it out and see. Patient Peyton strikes again.
Mm-hmm.
He is patient.
Patient Peyton.
Oh, and then there was the.
Aren't you surprised that Elway is even like has any sort of clout
still in the conversation?
No.
I thought he was like out and like chilling on a boat somewhere.
No, I just picture Elway being the guy that kind of like peeks around the door, like, hey guys. Like, you
still here?
Would you want to? No.
Every 2 weeks he shows up.
Just do that. Like, no. You have full reins, but at the same time, don't push that button. You know what I mean? Just like,
yeah.
He's not till next year when his contract's up.
Well, and then
he's really gone, which is another change that's going to happen.
Gone.
So after the Browns game, I put on Twitter that I thought that Peyton should go after Todd Davis at linebacker, see if he can bring him out of retirement. Mm-hmm. Turns out, Todd Davis said that he had conversations with Peyton about coming out of retirement, but they couldn't agree on numbers, which sucks. That would have been fun.
Like, how much does Todd Davis expect to get paid at this point? Like, take what he's going to give you. What else are you doing? Nothing.
Well, he said that Starbucks has moved up to $23 an hour. Yeah. So,
side note, I kind of want to go back to what we were saying before. Think about this: 2022 could be a year without. In how many years without John Elway or Bolins?
Since 2011.
That's crazy to think. No, since any of the Bolins.
I don't know. You're the one making
or John Elway. Well, you said 2011.
Well, I mean when John Elway joined the front office.
I know, but like a John Elway-less Broncos in any aspect.
Like we're talking 1982.
And a no Bolins in.
You're talking. If you're talking front office, and it was 2011.
Yeah, 2011. Yeah, when it became
I'm saying at all, like no John Elway gone from the Broncos organization in any capacity, and 12, the 13, Bolins 14, gone from the Broncos in any capacity. That's just pretty like to me.
So KB82, pull up his comment if you don't mind, Mike. From the bottom.
The twin?
Yeah.
Who is that?
So KB, and pardon the expression, apparently did a deep dive and found out that there's a porn star that's Drew Lock's doppelganger. So I don't know. So there you go. Why are you looking?
Okay.
So
see, Kenny had me like deep diving into my draft brain, like. Who is Locke's twin?
Go get a PT.
Kenny is refusing to reveal his sources, but I think it was an online search. But.
Whoa. So where was the? There was one up here a long time ago about the offense. We got to talk about from EJ. Can our Broncos score points on offense to beat the Washington football team?
Yes.
Sure.
And that's kind of a good segue into the Washington game. Now,
can you do that again?
I know I'm a dancer.
Cool, man.
So I did end up pulling the game preview in here.
Nice.
I mean, shut up. I had to get there.
Wait, so you mean to tell me it's at 3:25 Central Time?
Yeah.
Exactly. So it looks like Denver's 69.1% the favorite to win over Washington. But the thing that gets me is like Heineke and Bridgewater are pretty darn close, and that's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah. It'll be it's not going to be a good game, guys. I'm sorry to tell you, it's not going to be a good game, like in any way, shape, or form.
No, and then like you look here, so like points per game, they beat us in points per game. Points allowed per game. I don't believe that stat for a second. Now, I think the only reason we're there is because the Jets scored 0. Like that's the only reason that
the Browns scored 17. What are you talking about?
And then the Ravens scored a bunch. And just stop. Don't question me, Glenn.
Slap fight right now.
Slap fight right now.
Mike doesn't slap. He does a swoop.
I swoop.
It's an undercut.
And he makes like a cymbal. I mean, when he hits you,
like you look at these, like it's pretty even between the two teams.
Yeah,
Well, we always perform well during Ring of Fame ceremonies, so we got that.
Yeah.
Stop. No.
Oh wait.
Stop.
We were at that game, everyone talking about like Peyton Manning doesn't expect much. Let's be honest. He's not going to expect much from.
Hey, if like anything, maybe Peyton will want to jump into the game and be like,
yeah. Ooh, can you imagine like Brian Daboll and then like somehow hires Peyton Manning in some like Kubiak offensive advisor role or something?
Hey, I did read an article that said that Peyton Manning does coach one of his kids' high school football team. And
no, his kids' elementary school,
and they're undefeated. So
now
it's 9.
Well, I mean that NFL. Here I come.
Yeah, there it is.
My 9-year-old's flag football team.
They probably pay him so much money for elementary school.
Probably.
Like how about Peyton Manning as offensive coordinator?
No.
Why would he do that? He wouldn't.
I don't think he would come back for anything less than like ownership.
Yeah, he's defindefinitely more of a mobile style person. I don't see him doing that. And like everyone talks about that, it's different. You don't usually just jump into Kellen Moore though. Kellen Moore did pretty good going into QB coach and then up to offensive coordinator. He's probably looking at a job.
And he's not a retread, so he'd be fine. Go ahead.
Hey, fine. Having a Dak Prescott also helps.
Yeah.
I mean, our retreads even go back to Gary Kubiak. They go back to or the non-retreads are Dan Reeves, our Red Millers, our Gary Kubiak.
Fawkes.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was a retread.
I don't.
So Albright had come out with a list of potential head coaching candidates that the Broncos were looking into, and Daboll and Bieniemy wasn't on it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like it was so bad. It had
Bieniemy,
Garrett on there.
Yeah. Bieniemy,
person who's from Seattle. Darryl Belleville is not a pretty name. That would be rough. I don't want that.
Oh, did you see on the Manning cast the other night when they had beast mode on there?
Yeah.
And there was a 1-yard play, and he goes, Marshawn, do you like a slant or a short pass here at with 1 yard to go, or would you run it?
Oh, I thought you were going to talk. I thought
he was going to say, yeah. That's what I thought he was going.
The what?
Great.
No, you must have not seen that part.
Well, wasn't it the Tom Brady Eli conversation?
Yeah, that one was good too.
Tom Brady's like, I didn't enjoy playing Eli, and Eli's like, I love playing you.
Yeah.
I feel badly for like Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, and Louis Riddick, because who's watching that the main game when those two guys are on, especially with some of these.
Because I like forget sometimes they don't publish very much. Like I just forget, and then I gotta go and then I see it on Twitter, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Brady was unbelievable on there. That was so good.
But yeah, back to
Brady was calling the defensive players dumb. That like there are certain players that just are going to be defense because they're not smart.
I honestly can't wait till Brady retires. So I can
back to Daboll and Bieniemy. Like I don't understand why Dable's not on there. Like Bieniemy, I get, because like if you look at the Kansas City offense, Bieniemy is the one that's calling the plays, but Reed is the one that's like making the plays. Like that's his offense. He's basically drawing up the plays, and then Bieniemy's just calling the plays. So I guess I get that, but I don't understand why. And it's not like they couldn't add him later, but I don't. It seems like all the coaches that were on that list were former head coaches. So I'm wondering if that's the way they're going. Like, to stop the trend
also,
of no regrets.
Also, you gotta remember this isn't like a solid list yet. Like this is just rumored names that are kind of going around very early into, like we're not even at the halfway point in the season. So I think these are probably names that are just floating around right now, and we'll get once we find out later on who actually wants to leave what they're currently doing and who we have actually no interest in later on. So
Speaking of
Kellen Moore, Byron Leftwich, like there are quite a few other non-retreads out there that we can go for.
Speaking of no interest, Deshaun Watson,
no interest.
Not coming to Denver.
No,
like that's not a thing. Albright and Cody Rourke and a whole bunch of others came out with the Broncos were interested in Watson months ago before all of the allegations came out. Since then, they have not wanted Watson, and Watson has already said that if he is traded to anybody right now other than Miami, he's going to use his no trade clause. So he's not coming to Denver.
Good.
That's not a thing.
Who wants him?
Yeah,
Miami.
I want to stay as far away from him as possible.
Yes. We were all in on Watson, and then 22 people
came out and said he did bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to try to address as many rumors and arguments that we were seeing throughout the week with Bridgewater and Locke. I don't think that happens until bye week. Anything with Shermer, I don't think that happens until bye week, unless he completely messes something up in the next week or two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember what the other ones were. Oh, the trading for players. And honestly, with Peyton still making trades for players, obviously he hasn't given up on the season yet.
And why would you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we're still technically in playoff contention. I think there's 7 that go in each NFC, AFC, right? There's 7. I think we're 8th in playoff standings right now.
And we have games against Washington. Yeah. We have games against Philly. Cincinnati is an automatic win. Oh, wait, no, not this year.
No. Whoa, calm down.
We got Detroit. Whoa. We've got 2 Kansas City games. I mean, if this isn't the year where we break loose against Kansas City, I don't know what it is.
2 Chargers. Yeah.
No, I mean, this isn't a year. I still think Kansas City's fine. I don't. Their defense. I'm
not saying they're a disaster, but you don't think we're going to beat them one of the games?
I still think the odds are very, very good.
Like I fell for it myself and was like, oh, the NFL figured out Mahomes. I don't think so. I think that the surrounding cast around Mahomes isn't as good as it was, and so now he's kind of leveling out for him. Like not NFL leveling out, but leveling out for him, which is still
is trash.
Yeah,
and their offensive line isn't holding up well.
Yeah, and it all started with Mike Schwartz getting hurt. Ever since that man went down in that AFC Championship game, Kansas City has not been the same.
So,
I think because what he's doing.
Just going back to Mark's comment about Wiz for quarterback, would you be our Jared Lorenzen or?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Too soon.
I wouldn't be able to.
Our DeMarcus Russell.
I wouldn't be able to see over the line to throw it, but I will run it as much as possible until I get winded, and then time out.
Yeah,
time out.
Mike is more of a DeMarcus Russell type of guy.
Vince Wilfork.
That's purple drank in his cup. Yeah.
I forgot where I was going. Oh, let's do the Washington game.
That's at 3:25 Central.
Yeah, it's 3:25 Central. So make sure you guys watch The Neighborhood.
There's so many things that you want to talk about, but then at the same time, it's man, which Broncos team is going to show up? Are we going to see the Broncos team?
Jerry Jeudy.
Right. Is Jerry Jeudy going to make a big difference? Is Kenny Young going to make a big difference? Are we going to see, is Cooper starting? Are we going to see more of Cooper? Are we going to see more of Stearns? Honestly, I think that if the coaching staff doesn't change anything and we go into the Washington game the same as we went into the Browns game, heads should roll, because that is a travesty.
Oh,
you have to put in the players that are playing better. Oh, and isn't Purcell out too?
Yeah, Purcell is out with some injury.
So Williams will be in the middle.
I also want everybody to be reminded that it is 4:52 PST, and Tom McMahon still has a job. So let's just say that, just as we're going into the next.
McMahon's not even the biggest problem right now. That's the sad part.
I don't want people to forget that he's still a big problem.
It is 6:52 Central Time.
What if
McMahon
is Urban Meyering right now, where it's just like all this Gruden attention? Oh yeah, Fangio and Shermer. Oh god, like he somehow sneaks and keeps his job next season. How it's been 15 years. How are you still here?
He's at Tom McMahon's steakhouse right now.
Yeah,
Urban Meyering. Yeah.
There you go. Making copies of those pictures.
Mm-hmm. As
So,
far as this game,
do
though,
we-
I'm not really excited about it. I think that it will be
and-
a potential win, but like at the same time,
And
I don't know.
that's kind of where I was going to go. Was like, so if you look at, let's say that we have a Sternod Browning rotation, Kenny Young is in there, and Williams is in the middle. Is that going to make a big difference on the running defense? Or are we still expecting them to have their fourth string running back just gash us for 167 yards?
Let's hope not, because I think Washington's biggest worry is actually Terry McLaurin. I mean, that guy he's really good in his route running. So
They got a good backfield too.
Yeah, so our secondary is going to have their work cut out for him in trying to limit him. But the Broncos cannot go into this game and lose to a backup quarterback, because technically it should be Ryan Fitzpatrick under center for Washington. But
yeah, but isn't Ryan Fitzpatrick a backup quarterback?
Well, he was the starter.
Wait, hold on. The most hypocritical thing you've ever said in your life.
I'm being honest with myself. I'm being honest.
And that's coming
doesn't
from
mean I didn't want him.
Wow.
Doesn't mean he's a starting quarterback.
It kind of sounded like if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys got
I
like
am
those
allowed
little
to
like
be wrong.
rockets together with the like half hearts. Like each of you was wearing one. Like
He had some of my beard hair. I had some of his. We connected.
Mike offered him a hip transplant. This year.
I told him he could come live with me.
They were having
Gave him a couple kidneys. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Couple. How did I give him
you meant kids, right? You didn't mean kidneys.
Kids, not kidneys.
I think this game is also one of those games where you don't go into it necessarily worried, and then things just like
What's
again,
the over under on the distance of the McLaurin touchdown pass?
52 yards.
I would probably say 45. Seeing is because Darby is playing, so he should have an idea of how that Washington offense runs.
Well, and so here's my question. What other wide receivers are there that are a threat to the secondary?
From Washington?
Yeah. Because, I mean, we are still playing Darby. We still have Surtain. We still have Callahan. So if McLaurin's all they've got.
I
can't think of the other ones.
Golden
No, they just lost De'Ami Brown, I think is hurt. The boy dude out of North Carolina.
Where's
that guy.
Hold on, where's the where'd it go?
I don't remember who else they really have. Logan Thomas, is he still hurt?
There,
he's still out. They have Ricky Seals-Jones as tight end.
Curtis Samuel, he's questionable. Antonio Gibson's questionable too.
Again, questionable is the baseline. It's not.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly that means, which sucks. Like, I wish they still had the.
They have some good receivers.
Well, they have Adam Humphries.
Yeah, they have Adam. Wow, they got some good. They have a good receiving core.
Yeah, I forgot they have Curtis Samuel, but he hasn't really been active that much. He's dealing with a hamstring injury, I think.
So is Kenny Young going to be able to maybe not fix, but help fix the running issues for the defense?
It's got to be.
Are we going to be able to stop Gibson or whoever else is back in the backfield?
It's got to be better than what we saw last week. That's for damn sure.
Hopefully. I guess you're going to be pretty even with the amount of knowledge of the defense between Browning and himself, probably, because Browning is still very, very raw, and Kenny at least has a couple of years in the league. So we'll hope that Kenny does well.
Yeah.
But one thing also too is the Broncos will have had 10 days off or 10 days between games. So not only getting guys back, but getting some other players rested. Some of the players were able to go away for a couple of days, and visit family and such. So I think it's going to be a refreshed team. I don't think we're going to see a repeat of what happened. And if we do, like you said, don't wait till the bye week. Do something immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's one of the other ones. Mike 5.56. Justin Simmons is a definition of out of position. Now, I do want to clarify. There have been multiple people that have come out and said that the reason why Justin Simmons always looks like he's out of position is because he was trying to cover for Fuller, who has lost a step, and Kareem Jackson, who seems to have, I don't know, lost a step or just out of position at times. But Justin Simmons is basically trying to cover the entire backfield on by himself because he's trying to help fill in for people that have lost a step. So I don't blame Simmons for a lot. And you can see that that near interception that Simmons had against the Browns. Like you can see that he's definitely being helped out by having Darby back in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't see Justin Simmons as someone that really like loses a step in general because he's a very smart guy and he's very involved and has very much taken over the leader role of that defense. And so I don't see him out of position that much. If anything, I think he is covering for a lot or it may appear that way because he's supposed to close in and someone else is supposed to take high. Like it just depends on the scheme. But I haven't seen a lot of big issues with Simmons. I mean, Simmons is coming in late sometimes or not coming in late, but coming in because he's having to tackle because someone else missed an assignment a lot of the times because he's everywhere on the field.
Well, now there was that long pass. I think it was the Raiders again that we went to where Simmons missed the ball by like an inch because he jumped too early. But do you know how far away he had to come to try to help cover that?
Yeah.
And like that wasn't necessarily anyone's fault. Like
that was the right touchdown.
Yeah, I don't blame. It was Darby that was covering him, right?
Yeah.
I don't blame Darby for that. Like Ruggs just outran him. Like what cornerback in the league is going to be able to run with Henry Ruggs?
And just because you see other players like Honey Badger on Good Morning America or Good Morning Football or whatever, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily better.
Mic drop.
I'm saying. I'm just saying.
I have no idea what the point of that was, but I agree.
Well, like no, because I like you always hear people.
Agree. I don't even know what that was.
Justin Simmons isn't on.
Well, Boggins is a smart guy.
NFL Network. Like you, because you see like the more popular players on that kind of stuff, and it's like I don't know, it's annoying. Don't forget.
One of the recent times Justin was on there, they go, "I don't feel like I just interviewed Justin Simmons. I feel like I just interviewed a future president of the United States."
Yeah,
because he's so cool.
So yeah, there's a lot of things that the defense has to try to fix. I'm hoping that Kenny Young is kind of going to help out with the rush defense. Like that is the biggest issue right now is trying to stop the run. I think that Cooper being in there more with Miller will help the pass rush. We still need more interior pass rush, and I'm kind of hoping that Kenny Young is able to step back into coverage more and let Sternad kind of rush the quarterback to try to help with that interior defensive line pressure. So I'm hoping that it's going to be better. I'm not saying that Kenny Young was the key to turning around the entire defense, but I definitely think he can help a lot. Mic drop, walk off.
Mic drop, walk off.
Nobody said anything.
Well, because you just spent
10
minutes talking about
mic drop, or is it just a mic drop?
I was waiting for a Boggins rebuttal.
It's a mic drop. That's what I was waiting for.
Well,
I wasn't listening, to be honest.
See?
Well, you spent 10 minutes talking about how Kenny Young is going to do this and Kenny Young's going to do that. And then the last 12 seconds, you're like, I don't really expect Kenny Young to be the guy. I mean, but
I spent 45 seconds, sir.
46.
It may have been slower in your hearing aids, but it was only 45 seconds.
I don't know.
I might do an Admiral Stockdale and just turn them off.
Then we'll stop hearing that from your hearing aid.
Continue.
Okay, so final scores for the Broncos and Washington game.
I'm going to 27-17 Denver.
27 points, yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Wow.
I'm going to say 20-17 Denver.
I'm going to say, I think I said this last week, 17-13.
Who? Part of picking is actually a team.
I will say I think Jerry Jeudy's going to make a difference. I'm going to say what Denver.
What?
I was about to say Washington.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 2017 Denver.
Can you believe that?
that?
Can you believe that Fangio said that he doesn't believe that defenses scheme a little differently
towards
for
Jerry Jeudy?
Jeudy, yeah.
Like,
right?
What are you on?
That's what I didn't understand.
That was asimine. It really was.
Like, was that a stab at Jeudy, like a challenge, like play better?
Remember what I said?
Or was it just
he like
stupid?
He like tries to keep people like in their place. Like it just seemed like another moment of that. It's just like, what are you talking about, bro? You crazy.
Wow. Denver goes up 10-0 before giving up 42 unanswered. Dave Glass.
I see what you did there, Dave.
Yeesh.
28-10 Broncos.
Mike, you get that, right?
Yeah,
I
he
get
gets that reference.
I get that. No, I don't. What's that reference?
That was the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Timmy Smith is going to
wait,
gash
5
the
to
Broncos
4.
for
How is
206
that?
yards.
How is that the Super Bowl?
Oh,
How do you
because
get
John
4?
Elway had the opening touchdown to that game, and then Denver never scored again after that.
Oh! You're
Doug
talking
Williams
about
had 35 points.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying that was the 48 for some reason.
No.
17-14 Broncos win and squeak by with a McManus field goal. We'll see. I'm so torn on because last week was the first time I picked somebody besides the Broncos, and I was right, but it was painful to be right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you opened a bottle of champagne or something.
No, I opened a can of Mountain Dew.
Close enough.
Open a can of whoop cash.
McManus kicked a 70-yard field goal.
That's a prediction for the game.
Is that, Landon, is that before or after the
That's it.
Yeah.
3-0. That'd be
McManus hitting a
amazing.
70.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Please don't give that man any ideas.
Fangio has the
hang things up
personality of
after
a Major League Baseball umpire.
Well, I wish he had the personality
Yeah,
of
energy.
Leslie Nielsen in Naked Gun.
Or
the umpire.
or the police chief from that movie at that.
17-10 Washington.
For WTF.
Oh, yeah, that's Washington.
Yeah.
The Washington team for football.
WFT.
Oh, I know. The Washington team for football.
The Washington Mr. Snyders. Yeah.
The Washington Sentinels.
All right. I think that. Oh, do we have any Broncos players that are going to break out in this game?
You should say Kenny Young one more time before we go.
I'm going to say Cooper.
Kenny Young.
I'm going to say Cooper. Koopa.
Oh, you just stole Mike's.
Yeah.
No, I'm going Kenny Young.
Jerry Jeudy.
Like Koopa. King Koopa.
I'll go
That's
Javonte
an
Williams.
easy answer.
Washington, I believe, has one of the worst run defenses. So
Kenny Young.
Javonte, you got to remember.
We need to
Patrick
call
runs
some
the
running
ball.
plays. You know, I know someone referenced earlier that we were throwing some passes to the running backs, but we certainly don't.
3 screen passes in one drive is not good.
Yeah. Put in Kenny Young, let him run it.
Yeah. It's me.
Do it.
All right. We got to do it. We got to get to this game. It's getting ready to go on. The Cardinals and the Packers. That's kind of an interesting game. I kind of want to know who
With future Broncos quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
He's not going anywhere, I don't think. I can't imagine the Packers not saying, you know what, we screwed up.
Yeah, right.
Consider this.
Denver will be like, oh, we want Jordan Love. Give us Jordan Love. No.
Yeah.
No, no one wants
Kirk Cousins.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and head out. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, and turn on notifications so you can catch all of our content when it is posted. Make sure you're also tuning in to Broncos Talk, hosted by 6'10" and Rich every Tuesday, 7654. The Nothing Rhymes Orange Blue podcast on Friday at 7654. And we can also watch the pregame show, The Neighborhood, that airs before every Broncos game. You can get the audio versions of all the network's podcasts on all the major podcast streaming services And again, we ask that you go to the Apple Podcast and search for MHRT Network. Leave us a review and a rating, but only if it's a good one. If it's a bad one, I'll ban you. Links are in the description below. We love you all. We love Broncos country. Now we're going to do Boggins' favorite thing of all podcasts.
He's been doing it all the show.
And I know, but he won't do it when we're supposed
to. Either
to.
has flies in his bathroom or he's been practicing for the end.
We're going to do the mile high five. Everybody ready?
Let's rock.
Come on, Boggins.
All right, mile high five. Woo! Wow, we went to Jerry Jones. That is terrible.
His timing was good, though.
It was pretty good. All right. Go Broncos. We'll see you on Friday for the Nothing Rhymes, and we'll see you. No, we'll see you on Sunday for the neighborhood. Goodbye. Okay.